This black gnat is an old English pattern that was tied by Harry and Elsie Darbee, transforming what was probably fished wet into a catskill style dry fly. I'm putting it on a 14 hook. The recipe calls for 12 to 18 using black thread. The tail is black hackle barbs. So I'll just grab a clump of hackle barbs, measure a shank length, and tie those in. I'll go ahead and clip out the butt ends. I'll wrap back over those barbs, and I'm going to wrap underneath of that also to just lift those a little bit. I trapped one doing that. There we go. Okay. Give myself a little bit of room to tie in the body material, which is small black chenille. I'll pull off the fibers, the chenille fibers off the thread center core and wrap that back to where I have the tail tied in. Bring my thread up to the front. I do need to be conscious to leave plenty of room for the wings and the front hackle. So 2-3 wraps of the chenille is going to be plenty. And then my standard wrap up over the ingredient 3 times to catch it in, and then wrap under 2 or 3 times to secure it. Clip out the extra. I'm using gray duck quill for the wings. This fly has 2 sets of wings, so I have 2 pieces of the quill and less than the hook gape, because I'm going to be tying 2 of them in, and I'm going to get about a shank length, hold those out over the eye of the hook. Wrap back here, get that end of that chenille to lay down a little bit better so I can wrap up over the top of it with the wing. I want to get this tied in back by the chenille. Go ahead and lift up on those wings and tie underneath of them. And then I'll clip out the extra back here. Get those to lean back. And then I will separate them and tie my next set in between them, again laying out in front. So I have 2 more slips, and I will lay those between the first 2 wings. Try to pinch everything together and try to wrap them back up close behind or close to the first wings. Lift up on the second ones, wrap underneath of them to get them to stand up, and then very carefully pull up on the first set or both sets, and they do kind of get all mixed up in here, but reach in and clip off the butt ends. Get those to stand up. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit more complicated when you tie in two sets of wings like that, and they're kind of separating, but I think they'll be okay. And then I do have some black hackle that I'm going to just strip the tip, catch that in, and I can pull back on it so it's not leaning out over the eye. Wrap in up over that. It's actually the butt end of the hackle. And then wrap back behind the wings to catch it in behind the wings. Bring my thread back up in front. And then I'll hackle wrap that. So this is really the catskill part of this fly, having the dry fly hackle behind and in front of the wings. Gives it that dry fly buoyancy. And I think that's probably a good amount of hackle. I'll catch in that tip. I want 3 wraps over the top of it. I'll wet my fingers and I'm going to pull back on all of the hackle. I have a hard time grabbing the hackle underneath, and then just wrap up over the top of that. It looks like I'm going to have to do quite a bit of cleanup on here. I'll go ahead and snap out the end of the hackle feather, and I'm going to use my pen half hitch tool, do a double half hitch, do 2 of those. Two double half hitches, not catch in any more of the hackle fibers, and it looks like doing that I'm pretty much able to push the hackle fibers that were around the eye out of the way. And then I can snip out that thread. I don't cut it, I just push my scissors against the thread, and then I will drop some diluted goop head cement on that head. The drop will soak in. Then I can push a hackle feather through the eye of the hook and make sure that it's clean. An old English gnat tied in a catskill style by Harry and Elsie Darbee.